Hey you guys, it's me Laura with Scraps of Encouragement, and I'm here with you today for a fun fold card. And this fold is called a half tri-fold card, and it's a great way to show off some pattern paper, to give your recipient a little surprise when they open the gate fold, and it also still gives you a little bit of space to write a message. So this is a perfect fold for those of you who don't know what to write or don't like writing a lot, but still want to give your recipient something really encouraging. For the card I'm making today, I am going to be using the Dino Roar Designer Series paper from Stampin' Up, and I'm using a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inch piece of the Designer Series paper and a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of Pretty Peacock paper. I'm also going to need a 6 1/2 by 2 1/4 inch piece of Pretty Peacock cardstock scored at 1 inch. I'm using actually 2 of those, and 2 pieces of 2 1/8 by 5 1/4 inch Designer Series paper. And I'm also going to need the same size 2 panels of Whisper White. And I will try to include these measurements for you on my blog or in the description box below, so be sure to check there and I will have all of that information there for you. For the strip on the inside, the size might vary depending on the stamp that you have. The key is that it fits the stamp that you have and that it can be hidden by the gatefold pieces, the half gatefold pieces that come in. So for me, in the stamp that I'm using today, this is 1 3/8 inch by 5 3/8 of an inch. And then I have the piece behind it 1 1/2 by 5 3/8. To get started, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my image on a scrap piece of Whisper White paper. And I am coloring this with my Stampin' Blends. I'm going to start with my dark and my light Pool Party. I picked those because they coordinate with the paper that I chose. For his claws, I'm using light petal pink. And dark and light Pretty Peacock. Again, I got those colors from the Designer Series paper that I'm using, and I'm using those to do some very basic shading and coloring on my leaves. For my Sloth, I'm using the dark and light Crumb Cake. Now, if you don't have Stampin' Blends, it's totally fine. You can pick colors of alcohol markers or any kind of markers or coloring mediums that you have that work well with your stamps and your paper. Don't feel like you have to use these exact ones. For the darker part of my Sloth, I am using my Early Espresso Stampin' Write marker. I did not have an alcohol marker that I felt was a good brown for this. And then I'm using Ivory for his face, as well as a little bit of the color lifter to kind of soften those edges out a bit. I'm going to come in and just finish up my shading, add a little bit of detail with the fur, with my dark Crumb Cake, and then shade that out just a little bit to give him a little bit more dimension. I'm using the light soft suede and the dark soft suede for the branch that he is lying on, and I'm going to do a little bit of shading here, just really have fun with it. Then I'm going to fussy cut this guy out. I'm leaving just a little bit of a border around, not cutting right up to the edge. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room and you don't have to worry about being quite as precise, but in the end it all comes out looking good. And also be sure to move the image that you're cutting, not the scissors. So once I have this guy colored and cut out, I'm going to start working on assembly. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to glue these flaps on so that they're going to be hidden. So I am gluing the flaps directly to my large piece of pattern paper. I'm going to make sure that's all lined up, and there is a little bit overhanging here on the edge. That's okay, just go ahead and trim that off. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Just glue that on the back of my Designer Series paper so that it's going to fold over, and then trim off any excess that I have there. then I'm going to glue this entire panel to my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of pretty peacock paper. And that hides these flaps, and it also reinforces them a little bit. Now I'm going to take this other piece of designer series paper that I have from the same card pack, and I'm going to glue these on my panels that fold over. And they should fit right inside. Also going to go ahead and add my Whisper white pieces to those, and again, this is completely optional, but if you want to write any message at all, that's why I put the white part there. And then I'm going to take the strip. Now remember, the size of the strip is going to vary depending on your stamp, and so I'm just kind of checking it out again to make sure that it all fits. And I'm also going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment on here before I put my sloth down in case I mess up. So then I'm just going to go ahead and glue these together and glue my sloth straight on top. I don't want to add dimension to him because I want my card to fold nicely. And this is a fun little tool. I got a little bit of glue where I didn't mean to, so this is an adhesive eraser and it just takes that right off. So if you tend to be a little bit messy, this is a really great tool to have on hand. So now I'm just going to work on adding my little ouch pieces that I have at the top. So I've got a piece of Mango Melody paper here, and I'm just stamping a bunch of ouches, and I'm stamping way more than I'm going to use. I'm just going to cut them out and see what I like, and I'm just doing straight cuts. I'm not trying to make it perfect. Once I have my placement the way that I like them, I have the number that I like, I'm going to go ahead and glue those down as well. And that is it for this really adorable fun fold card. For this other one, I used some paper that is actually retired, but this is a great way to pull in some of your old paper packs that you have, and I will be sure to list all the supplies that I used on my blog as well as in the description below. But I hope you try your own version of this fun fold card, and I would love to see it. Be sure to share it with me on social media, on the blog comments, through email, whatever works best for you. And as always, I hope you find joy in creating as you spread kindness and encouragement with your scraps of paper. I'll talk to you later. Bye.